So 2020 is just a month away, and that's a crazy thought to think about. I mean, I feel like we just started 2019, and we were all excited about getting new games such as Mario Maker 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, and now we're moving on, starting the cycle over again. However, with 2020, there's really not much we know of. I mean, there are a few games coming out in the start of the year that we know of, and we know of a few games slated for release in 2020, but we're not exactly sure on much else. And while I'm sure PJ and I will do predictions as 2020 gets even closer, I just wanted to take a moment to go over my dream scenario for 2020. This is a pretty fun idea. It's going to be a relatively laid back video where I basically just talk about what I would want if everything could go perfectly, what I would want to see for 2020. However, while this is a dream scenario, I still have to be somewhat realistic, so we're sticking to one major game a month, which is something they've done in the past, such as 2017, and even then, the major games can't all be giant, huge, system-selling phenomenons. The spacing of big titles and somewhat filler titles has to be somewhat realistic. However, besides that, everything's up to me. I'm sure a ton of you guys are gonna hate this list, but once again, it's my dream. So let's get right on into it. As you can see here, we got this Switch Stop's Dream Calendar 2020, made by my beautiful Photoshop skills. If we zoom in here, you can see January, we got this Tokyo Mirage Sessions, hashtag Sharp FE Encore. February, I think we're getting a Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter. And March, you can see we're getting... Oh, that's awkward. Let me just get rid of... There we go. Yeah, you can see March we're getting Animal Crossing, but that's all stuff we already knew about. We already knew about all three of these, so I'm just going to highlight those kind of off on their own. Everything else down here is kind of just no man's land. This is where we have no idea, and where my brilliant predictions come into play. Alright, so starting off in April, we have something that gets me way more excited than it should. Super Mario 3D World is by far my most wanted port to Switch, and one of my most wanted games, just period. It's one of my favorite games of all time on the Wii U, and the fun I had with it there would only be exponentially multiplied given that it's on the Switch, because the Switch is a perfect console for it, and I've already gotten into that in past videos, but yeah, Super Mario 3D World, Deluxe, what have you, please put that on the Switch, Nintendo. Alright, moving on into May, this is kind of a down month for Nintendo, considering we just got Animal Crossing and Super Mario 3D World. So I think one pretty major third-party release is going to come out this month, and that is Doom Eternal, as you can see here. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get the Outer Worlds that same month. One of the two, though, would suffice for May. Moving on into June, obviously this is E3 month, so we can't have anything too big, right? Wrong! For some reason, Nintendo just balls out during June. June 2017, we got ARMS, which was a brand new IP, and while it kinda flopped, I still really enjoyed that game. And June 2019, we got Mario Maker 2. So for June 2020, I would love to see some sort of Star Fox presence. The dream is for that Star Fox racing game that Retro Studios was rumored to be working on, but I don't even know if that project still exists. I would just love some sort of either Retro Studios or Star Fox presence here. It would also kind of fit because Star Fox kind of feels like a June sort of game. I don't know, just a hunch. Alright, moving on from that obviously huge game, we need a little bit of a break, so I'm taking another Smash Bros. DLC fighter. Now you might be saying to yourself, Thomas, you headass, you already put a Smash Bros. DLC fighter up here, and after we get the one in February, the Fighter's Pass will be done. Well, obviously Sakurai is going to do more than just the Fighter Pass. He's already confirmed that, and while once the Fighter Pass is done, I expect the DLC fighters to be a bit more spread out in release. I feel like having a DLC fighter in February, then a 4-month break, then one in July is enough time. Alright, moving on into August, we got a pretty exciting game. Pikmin 4, I feel like it's finally time. I feel like August is generally just a no man's land for games. So it would not surprise me at all if this did end up coming out at the very tail end of August, more towards September. But I feel like Pikmin 4 will get announced in a direct sometime around January. It'll be a huge focus at E3, and then we will finally get it in August. Obviously, you all probably know, the game is supposedly done. I don't know what's going on with that. But regardless, it's been so long since Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, it's more than past time for Pikmin 4. Alright, moving on to September, my dream game for September would be the Metroid Prime Trilogy. While this game could always come out a lot earlier, in fact I probably would expect it to come out more towards April-ish. This is my wish list, damn it. So Metroid Prime Trilogy coming out in September, it is. Once again, it would be pretty weird to have a port this late in the year for Nintendo, but given that the Metroid Prime trilogy is A, 3 amazing games, and B, gonna hype us up for Metroid Prime 4, I just hope we get it sometime this year, so I slid it in at September. Moving on to October, we got probably the biggest game of the year, at least developed by Nintendo. We got a brand new Paper Mario game. Now let me break this one down for you. Color Splash came out a long time ago, 2016 I believe, on the Wii U. Saying that this game were to release in 2020 would not be a stretch at all. That's a 4-year period between games. Super Mario Odyssey only took 3 years to develop. So I mean, hey, it's more than possible. On top of that, Nintendo has to know that Paper Mario is a very highly requested franchise to return. In some of the official Smash Bros. Polls that they've put out, along with fan polls on articles such as Famitsu, Paper Mario has actually ranked pretty highly in characters that fans want. On top of that, there was all those hashtags earlier. I think Arlo started one about remastering Thousand Year Door. I just feel like it's time for a new Paper Mario game this October. Also, I do think that this will probably be a better game than a lot of people will think. In my opinion, Color Splash aesthetically and humor-wise was the best the series has ever been. It just didn't get much of a chance because the battle system was reminiscent of Sticker Star. However, I'm pretty sure Nintendo knows that that's not what people want, and in this Dream 2020 calendar, they go back. They don't remaster Thousand Year Door, they give us a new Paper Mario experience, but in the vein of the Thousand Year Door. How realistic is that? I don't know, but it says right up there, this is my dream, so hey, just let me have this one. Alright, moving on to November. This is gonna get a lot of people upset, but hear me out. Pokemon Gen 4 Remakes will be coming out November, at least in my wish list. Now, why do I want this supposed Dusk Diamond and Dawn Pearl games to come out in 2020? I know a lot of people want Game Freak to take a break after Sword and Shield. However, I absolutely loved those games. I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but I thought those games were the best that Pokemon has ever been. So obviously it goes without saying that I'd like to see more Pokemon games relatively soon. I wouldn't be opposed if Game Freak took a break, but on top of all this, there was merchandise like patents leaked for 2020 that were Diamond and Pearl themed, so it's clear that they are remaking those games, and I feel like they're gonna come out sooner rather than later. My computer is absolutely cooking itself, what the... No, but for real, I know a lot of people want Game Freak to take a break and, make the games the best they can be. And while I'll admit Pokemon Sword and Shield had their fair share of shortcomings, they were by far my favorite Pokemon games ever, not counting, the nostalgia I have for Gen 3 and all that. The music was amazing, the region was great, the new Pokemon were some of the coolest ever, and the Dynamax gimmick was more enjoyable than Mega Evolutions and Z-moves combined. On top of that, a remake obviously wouldn't be as hard as developing a whole new region, and chances are they've been working on this remake in the background for a few years. So Pokemon Diamond and Pearl 2, or remaked, whatever you want to call it, coming out in November would be a big win for me. Last but not least, in December we have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. The remake of the one with Shulk in it. Honestly, this game had to come out sometime this year because it is slated for 2020, so I just kind of shoved it in at December because that was when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed with this game coming out in December. I probably won't pick it up just because I'm not a huge fan of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Just never really grabbed me. However, I guess it is, the first one, so maybe if I wanted to get in with it, that would be the perfect time. I don't know, but overall, that is my dream 2020. Obviously, this isn't pie in the sky dream, this is still realistic. I tried to base this calendar off of something that could happen, but isn't guaranteed. So in my opinion, this is best case scenario for the upcoming year. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you have any problems with this list? Is it too port heavy? Because if you do think about it, January is a port, April's a port, May is technically a port too, September is a port, and November and December are both remasters. So, I don't know, that's probably poor planning on my part, but this is my dream list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, which I'm sure you did if you got this far, please like it. Either that or you were just watching to see what dumbass idea I had next. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. The 40K special will be coming out momentarily, as in a few days now, so hopefully you guys are all excited for that and the big announcements we have. I'm Thomas on the Switch Stop, signing off. Peace.